What's up, game boys and girls? Big T here, back with another video. Yes, it's been a long time. I know I'm lazy. When you step away from the videos for too long, it's hard to get back. It's not something I try to do. I said I would never do that again, and I'm saying right now I'm not going to do this again. Long layoffs and whatnot, because I was getting some new subscribers, and I know you guys are probably sitting around waiting for new videos. But here we go. This video is going to be my Nintendo Switch 2 review, which I was supposed to do like 2 weeks after. Then the brother got sick. I got sick. I had an allergic reaction to something, and I broke out. It was a mess. So that was like another week, and then it was just like recovery after that. So here I am back again, making this video finally for the Nintendo Switch 2 review. Okay, so what do I think about the Switch 2? I'm not going to have you wait and drag it out for you. I'm just going to tell you right up front. It's a little bit underwhelming for me. And if you know me all these years, you knew it would be. Based on what it is, it's underwhelming. Does that mean I hate it? Does it suck? No. It is a very good console. If you didn't buy a Switch, it's a super good console, actually, because your last Nintendo system was a Wii U, and Wii U didn't get that many games. You get a Switch 2 day one, you got thousands of games to choose from, and the Switch 2 upgrades a lot of them. Nintendo doesn't even cover this, and I don't know why they don't talk about the fact that Switch 2 does enhance a lot of games, brings up the frame rates, stuff like that off the bat. So a lot of games that you had on Switch that didn't run the best run better on Switch 2. We don't know which ones at this point, but I would say a lot of them do. If you had frame rate issues in a game on Switch 1, there's a pretty good chance Switch 2 fixes that, from getting you a lock 30 or even getting you a lock 60. So that is a very cool thing. But if you know me as a Nintendo fan, I don't care. I really don't care that much about the visuals, the graphics, and all that stuff. Of course you care. You care to some degree. Everybody cares to some degree about graphics. But for me, the most exciting aspect of a Switch Pro or Switch 2, well, let's say Switch Pro, because we all heard about Switch Pro for years, which could have ended up just being the Switch 2, and they just took this long to get it out because the Switch was still selling like crazy. Like, why would you step on your own toes and put out a new hardware when your current hardware is selling as good as the Switch was selling? So I think that had a lot to do with it. I think the Switch 2 probably would have came out earlier, but the Switch 1 was just selling really well. I made that same argument about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. People were talking about, oh yeah, there's definitely going to be a Switch Mario Kart, and I'm like, why? Why would they put out a new Mario Kart when the Wii U Mario Kart is still selling so well on Switch? And that made a lot of sense. Like, why would you do that? It doesn't make sense to put out. It's like putting out Splatoon 3 when Splatoon 2 is like peaking. It's still selling really well. Doesn't make sense to do that. So yeah, Switch 1 was selling so well, probably kind of pushed back Switch 2's launch. And so basically that's my biggest problem with it. Let's just talk about that. My biggest problem with the Switch 2 is that it's just a Switch Pro. And for a lot of people, that's all they wanted. That's fine. I have no problem with that. If that's all you wanted, you got it, and there you go, right? But for me, if you know me, I wanted more than that. And the fact that the Switch 2 is so similar, like it's super similar to Switch 1. And I mean, like, there's little things they could have done to like made me more happier. That could have made me happier. I'm supposed to be a teacher, and I'm saying more happier. Yeah, like the OS, right? The OS is so similar to the Switch 1's OS. And we're still having this themed issue where we only have black and white as backgrounds. That's crazy. I mean, surely they know that people have been complaining about that. But it's just the fact that it's so similar. I don't feel like I got that, big of a thing. That I don't feel like I got it's almost like I don't feel like I got a new console. Just feel like I got a software patch, to the Switch 1. Obviously that's going to change in time. So here we go. Let's continue with the issues. And it's weird to call this an issue, but it is for me. Mario Kart World. Like, I was never excited about the world part of Mario Kart World. I just think an open world lend itself too well to a Mario Kart game, and I still feel that way. I don't have a ton of hours. I have maybe 12 hours in Mario Kart World, but I don't play racing games or Mario Kart games like that anyway. Some people get crazy into them and have a bunch of hours right away, but for me, Mario Kart is like icing. It's not like the cake. For me, especially at launch, I want a meaty kind of experience, a big adventure game. Your Mario, just your 3D Marios, right? That's what sold me on N64 with Super Mario World, Super Mario 64, amazing. Super Mario World was also great. But yes, it also sold me on the Super Nintendo, because when I saw that commercial with the giant bullet bill, boom, boom, shooting across the screen, I was like, these graphics are insane. So I cared more about graphics when I was younger. But at this point, I just want cool new experiences on my cool new hardware. And there's not much of that currently. The Mario Kart World doesn't feel new. There is new things, obviously, but the what do you call it? The challenges in the open world aren't compelling to me. I don't really care for challenges that, I will dabble in them, but I don't really. That's not like something that drives me to play a game. And there's not much more. There's not an event. I was hoping for an adventure mode, a la like Diddy Kong Racing or something like that, where you have boss battles and whatnot. That would have been cool. That would have been something that would have like made me feel like, oh yeah, Mario Kart World is awesome. But for me right now, the game is 8.3. I know that doesn't really make that much difference, but like it's an 8 to 8.5 for me, which is still a really good game, but it's not like mind-blowing type of game, right? The prices of things, the price of the Pro controller. I haven't bought one because I just can't compel myself to buy a controller, a standard controller that costs more than $100. So by the time you pay your taxes and whatnot for the controller, it's over $100, and that's just too much. That's going into it's called a Pro controller, but that's going into like the special controller kind of feel to me when you hit over $100. It's like crazy. So the price of the controller is an issue for me. The price of the console is fine for me. I actually thought it would be $429. That was my thing in my head. I was like, people were saying $4, but I'm like, it's not like Nintendo hasn't, put 50 on, something 50. Like Switch OLED is $350, or was three. Is it still $350? Yeah. So they've done that before. I think the Wii was $250, right? Obviously, it came with Wii Sports. But yeah, so that wasn't crazy to me. But I was thinking $429. It just felt like a good number. But $450, good for the power that nobody was expecting this console to have. The build quality is great. I've talked about that before. I love the new Snap-on Joy-Cons with the magnet. The rumors were that that was a thing beforehand. I was like, how is that really going to work? How's it going to feel sturdy? It feels sturdy. You snap them on, it feels sturdy. I don't know how long the magnet strength will be as good as it is. That's a kind of a worry of mine in the future, but I don't know. But I'm one of the people that actually uses their Joy-Cons a lot. Obviously, I don't have a Pro controller for Switch 2, but I do use it. The cool thing is I can use my Switch 1 Pro controller, so I do that as well in dock mode. So that's good. That's cool. I can use all my accessories from the previous console. That's a cool thing. Another issue I have with it is the fact of the game key cards. That's a problem for me. It's more of a problem than I thought initially before we actually had the console. Like, it doesn't make sense to me to have a game key card. In theory, a collector like myself would like that. But it's like, if I'm going to buy a card that has nothing on it, and I still have to download the stuff anyway, why wouldn't I just buy it digitally? Because that's just more convenient than having to put a card in every time I want to play the game, when there's really no, there's nothing on that cart. So it doesn't really make sense logistically. I get it that they want to still have a retail presence. I'm sure these third-party developers wanted that for that very reason. And they're forcing people to buy a 64 gigabyte card, which I'm sure is expensive. I don't really know why they're doing that. A way to alleviate that is just use Switch 1 cards, especially for like the smaller indie games. Can we just use Switch 1 cards? And if you're worried about speeds or whatnot, let us just be kind of forced to download from the Switch 1 card. At least have the game on the card, and then we can download it. Because, Switch 1 is compatible. Switch 1 cards are compatible with the Switch 2. So why can't I just use a Switch 1 card basically as a download mechanism, where I put it in, I have to download it from just the way every other console does it. You buy these games, disc-based games for PlayStation 5 and Xbox. For the games that actually still are on the disc, you have to download it anyway, even if you have a physical disc that has the entire game on it, because these optical drives aren't fast enough to stream these games from the disc. You have to download it. So yeah, why doesn't the Switch 2 work that way? Where the game is a higher fidelity, it doesn't won't run well off of the card itself. Then just give me a Switch 1 card, or give these developers a Switch 1 card and say you have to download the game, just like every other company does. It won't be a problem. I just don't understand why that's not an option, that you're forcing them to have these 64 gigabyte cards for Switch 2 only. Doesn't make sense to me, but that's one of the issues I have with it. The launch games, like I said, I kind of already said this, but they're not compelling enough. Switch 1 had a more compelling launch because of one game, basically, which was Breath of the Wild. A huge, big, 100-hour plus game that you can just really get your meat hooks into and just play and just marvel at the fact that this huge console game can be played on this tablet, this little tablet device. That was mind-blowing, right? And the Switch concept itself was also mind-blowing. Now, it's not as mind-blowing because, we had the Switch 1 era. Switch 2 does the same thing. It is obviously still very good, cool, convenient to have a console on the go. That doesn't change, but the novelty of it has worn off. So that is not as exciting and compelling as it would have been. Again, these are just kind of feels things. Some of them aren't like practical issues, if you will, but just it would have been cool if they had like I said, a more meaty adventure game to go along with Mario Kart, or release Donkey Kong first and Mario Kart a month. What is it? It's like a month apart here. They've done that on GameCube. Obviously, the GameCube didn't sell that great, but there were way other issues. There was just crazy new competition, and the market kind of shifting, and Nintendo wasn't really anticipating that well, especially when it came to online gaming. But yeah, they just didn't have the lineup that I want. Is there big, cool new games at launch for Nintendo Switch? Of course. But if you have any other console, a lot of these games you've already played, including a game that I did buy, which is Cyberpunk 2077. I did go out and buy that because CD Projekt Red put the entire game, not just the entire game, but they also put the DLC in the package. It's a $30 DLC, and for them to offer this up for $70 is fantastic. Even though it's an old game, it is still $70. Everything is on the cart. I know that I feel, as a collector, as a game preservationist, I feel great about that purchase being there. So, yeah. So, like I said, that's my major issues. It's even like Fast Fusion. It's great. It's a fantastic game, but it's almost kind of like been there, done that. Because I played Fast on the Wii, which looked really good for a Wii game. Shannon, they're magicians over there. I don't know how they pull this off with such a small team. But yeah, the game is fantastic. But again, it just feels like, all right, It's fast. I've already kind of did this. I played a lot of that game on Switch. I still play it. I love it. It's still a great game. But as far as like excitement, and getting me excited for a new console, my new Switch 2, it doesn't do a whole lot for that. And people will dissect this and go back and be like, oh, Switch 1 lineup wasn't that great. But they were new games. They were new, not to Switch, just to Switch, but yeah, they were new games, period. I just think the lineup was more diverse. Maybe it wasn't more diverse. It was just new. It's at least new games. It was like, I got a new system, and there's these new games that came out. Are they crazy good, great games? No. Like Snake Pass and whatnot. Snake Pass, I love Snake Pass. It's one of my favorite early launch window-ish games for the Switch, and it felt like I'm playing something new. It's a new experience, and so there's just not a lot of that on Switch 2 yet. That's coming, but that's one of the things that kind of mires it for me as far as my rating goes for it. So yeah, what do I give the Switch? If I was give it a score, Switch 2, I would give it an 8, which is still a good score, but it's not like, oh my god, you got to go out and buy this thing now. You don't. Maybe next week when Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out. That for me is a killer app. So, and I already got the Switch too, obviously, because I'm a Nintendo fanatic. I have to get the console as early as I can get it, right? Usually it's day one. I've been getting Nintendo consoles day one since N64 is when it started for me. Day one N64, GameCube, Wii U, Switch, and now Switch 2. So, it's a great little console. Like I said, I talked about the build quality, fantastic build quality. Love the Joy-Con 2s. Just to throw out one more annoyance is Welcome Tour not being a pack-in title or a title you can at least download if you want to onto your Switch 2, because you want to maybe save your space. Because all of your launch titles, for the most part, you got to download them from either a server or you got to download them. Well, you download them for a server. So that's going to eat up your little flash memory, which is another issue. I just got to throw that out there. Another issue with the flash memory is that you have to buy high speed. I forget what it's called, turbo, whatever, flash memory, because your current memory from your Switch 1 will not work for anything other than like your pictures and video. You can't bring over your games on it. You have to download them to the Switch 2. And then I did that, and my my hard drive basically filled up, which sucks. And I didn't want to go out and buy, which I felt like is a overly expensive, not crazy over, but just enough to annoy me, expensive flash cards. And they have gone down. There has been sales. Right now, I don't feel like I completely need one, because I'm not buying third-party games that require downloads. I got Cyberpunk, and I got Mario Kart World, and I brought over, my Switch 1 games and whatnot, so I don't have to download anything yet. Anyway, I did have to delete a couple of things that I would have liked to had, but it's not that crazy. I already have so many games, I won't really miss them. So, yeah, so that's an issue. That's, I guess, another issue, but overall, I'm really happy with my Switch 2, and like I said, the killer app. If you don't care about 3D platformers, I don't know why you're a Nintendo fan. But there are some of those guys out there that are Nintendo fans that don't care about platforming games, which is crazy to me. Nintendo was like they didn't start platformers, but that's their bread and butter. That's what they're known for. So yeah, Switch 2, great console. I bet by the end of the year it's going to be a phenomenal, fantastic console. There's going to be some other games out there that we don't know about yet that are going to be, that's going to come out and going to surprise us. It's going to be great. I know how Nintendo works, so I'm not overly worried about that. But I'm just talking about the launch right now. Up until now, it wasn't a must-have console. It's obviously selling really well, so the core fan base, the core audience, Nintendo fans, have jumped on, and they really want it. So I'm glad people are enjoying it probably more than me because of the technical stuff. Again, that doesn't move me as much. Yes, is it a nice thing to have? Of course. But when you want to move me as a gamer, I want some new cool experiences on my new cool console. So yeah, that's it. All right, so guys, that's it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. How do you feel about Switch 2? Do you have one? Are you going to get one soon? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you again for watching and listening, and I'll see you fools next time. Peace out.
Huh?